The final passage reads, "On that fated land, a great war shall transpire. Darkness will prevail, and light expire. This world is full of light. It's a world comprised of many smaller worlds, all connected, stretching as far as the eye can see. One great light protects us all. All worlds share one light, one fate." I take it you're talking about Kingdom Hearts.
Yep. In ancient times, people believed that light was a gift from an unseen land by the name of Kingdom Hearts. But Kingdom Hearts was safeguarded by its counterpart, the Keyblade. Warriors vied for that precious light, thus beginning the Keyblade War. All of this was decided.
You really think you can change the future?
All of this was decided.
The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear. Sounds like your trip around the world opened your eyes, but you got a little bit more than you anticipated. You must have seen a lot of darkness. So you're saying the weak feel the need to justify their actions to maintain a sense of self. You can't let that slide. I suppose letting false light dictate the future might be a pretty lousy move. So, you can make a change. You have that power. What do you want for the world? You believe the world needs you. Sounds like you already know where you're headed. If you truly possess great power, the darkness can't control you.
All of this was decided.
You really think you can change the future?
All of this was decided.
The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear.
All of this was decided.
Why not just sit back and watch it play out?
All of this was decided.
May your heart be your guiding key. Who are you really? Some kind of fortune teller? Well, I could lie, tell you that's what I am, when I'm actually a brilliant artist, even a scholar. I could tell you that I dream of world peace, when I'm actually planning for its destruction. The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear.
All of this was decided.
You really think you can change the future?
All of this was decided.
The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear.
All of this was decided.
Why not just sit back and watch it play out?
All of this was decided.
May your heart be your guiding key. May your heart be your guiding key.
Ladies and gentlemen, what a day it is to be a Kingdom Hearts fan. How are we all doing? Exciting times. We've got a great podcast ahead of us. As you can see on screen are two very beautiful things. Over here, you've got the new Young Xehanort art by Tetsuya Nomura. I'm going to pull up a bigger view of this later on. And over here are the dearest sages of the lodge, those who donate as little as $1 a month, be it as a YouTube channel member or at the link in the description. Got a lot of love for all these people, and some of them are here in the chat now. Thank you all so much. It's been a really exciting day. We have so much to talk about. Like, really, I'm excited. But thanks for coming out. You know, you guys, there's no shortage of Kingdom Hearts creators doing this kind of stuff today, and you guys are choosing to hang out with me, and that goes a long way for me. That's all I could ever ask for. But let's see. Let's pull up a little bit of a broader view. How's everybody in the chat doing? I see we got a lot of people in here. Maria, how are you? Pajama Let's Play, how are you? Orpheus Joshua, a Sage of the Lodge. Black Red Pill 2, The Dude, Will's Word, Hillary Slack, Joshua Curian, Umbra, The Dude, I said The Dude, Umbra, and of course, the Lady of the Lodge herself, Star Latte Studios, holding it down on the Twitch end with that subscription. But yeah, guys, first of all, let's start with nothing that nobody can dispute. This is positive. How awesome is this art? I love this tradition that started lately where it's like, no matter what the Kingdom Hearts world is serving us, Tetsuya Nomura is going to give us some new art to enjoy it. You know, you look at this art of Xehanort and you almost kind of see the Sora in him. You know what I'm saying? You almost kind of see the Sora in him. And I kind of wish we got to see him with an umbrella during all of this. But anyway, we have so much to cover. I do want to hop around the episodes and kind of point out some of the sequences and scenes that really stood out to me. There's a Tetsuya Nomura interview. That's really what we're going to start with. Tetsuya Nomura did a very short interview, kind of shines a lot of light on some of the stuff that came out today. That's where I want us to basically start. And from there, we'll get into some of the more specifics. And we'll talk a little bit Norse mythology, too. Courtesy of a Sage of the Lodge, Orpheus Joshua, and the people over at KH13. They made a brilliant diagram about some of the upperclassmen that we're going to pull up today. But overall, I'm excited. I think this goes without saying, everybody. Massive spoilers. Massive spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet and you're trying not to get spoiled, you are literally in the wrong place. So you're getting a quick hydration break to evacuate before the spoilers start spilling out of my mouth. We're translating the interview right now, by the way, via KH13. Yeah, the interviews that we're going to be pulling up, the translations I have is a very rough translation where I think we can make out most of it. Audrey over on Twitter, very popular account I think a lot of people should be following. She did some translations herself. We're going to start there because I think those are kind of the most concrete. And then we'll hop around from there for some of the more specific stuff. But OJ, dude, if KH13's full translation is ready in real time, you let us know. We'll drop the link in the chat and we'll pull it up here. But yeah, I hope everyone had a good time. I definitely enjoyed it today. I guess maybe we could talk about it a little bit before we get into the interview. I'll say this, and let me change up the angles here a little bit. I'll say this, guys. So, and let's switch this over. Let's get the chat over here now. There we go. Oop, and let's move you guys down just a cinch. But anyway, I'll say this. I think today's episode had its ups and downs. Today's episodes had their ups and downs. I don't think by any means this was a perfect release. I think it definitely has its flaws, but I think it's also important to remember that I really feel like we got an abridged version of what was planned. I feel like everything that we saw today, originally the plan was to flesh these characters and flesh these sequences out over the course of weeks, months, years. But given that the game did not... Frickin' 8 ads. Man, Twitch is getting greedy with that. I might have to turn that shit off altogether. But anyway, it really kind of got me thinking today. That a lot of what we saw, really you could tell was meant to be fleshed out in a much, much more descriptive fashion. But because, let's be honest, this game failed. It dropped, it got 3 episodes, nobody was really playing it. It was a fraction of the Union Cross player base. So, in my opinion, we're lucky we even got what we got. And considering what we got, I thought it was mostly good. Mostly good. There's a couple things I take issue with. We'll get to talking about that. It's nothing too major. But overall, I thought what we got was very good. That said, I think Union Cross was a lot stronger. But that's just my opinion. Overall, I think this 2D era will be remembered fondly. I think Union Cross has some of the best plot threads we've ever seen in the series. I think Dark Road gives us a lot more context and depth to the first saga's villain. And yeah, let's move on to the interview. Okay, let's start here. Let's start. What a finale. Lands of Masters, dude. How is it going? Good to see you. I'll get you a shout out in just a second, boy. But let's talk about this interview, baby. Because there's a lot of... I like that. I like this tradition, too. Not only do we get Nomura art, we're getting Nomura interviews, too, with all these releases as well. So let's get into this. Nomura says that Kingdom Hearts Missing Link will delve into the story of Bloodlines. He mentions that Eraqus and Xehanort do not share the same parents. But when asked if they share the same bloodline, he does not answer clearly. He says to play Missing Link to find out. This was pretty peculiar. This was pretty peculiar to me. So he's basically saying they don't have the same parents, but their bloodline might trace back to the same wielder. And I don't quite know what to make of that just yet. They're obviously not... If they're cousins, they ain't first cousins. They're going to be distant. But here, let me pull this up. I see we're in this view. Let's pull this up. Much easier for you guys to see. Much easier for you guys to see that. There we go. In the KH Reddit, the whole interview is translated. Really? I think you should be able to drop that link in the chat. Give it a shot. If you could drop the link in the chat, that would be a great help. But anyway, this is interesting because I think this introduction of Bloodlines is going to be pretty interesting. So we've always known that Eraqus is a blue blood, right? And by the way, massive spoilers coming. And we know that Brain was kind of his successor. But now, please, and this goes for the whole podcast, guys, you got to correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of this information is fresh in my head, so it's probably very foggy. Got to correct me if I'm wrong. So correct me if I'm wrong. Xehanort is a descendant of Ephemer. Not only is Xehanort a descendant of Ephemer, Xehanort is a descendant of Ephemer and Skald. So we're starting to see not only the convergence of different wielders' bloodlines, but we're starting to see it sever into almost like two different directions. And the bloodline calls back to FF15. Oh, Kingdom Hearts is 100% doing a fusion with Final Fantasy Versus 13. I understand if there are some Kingdom Hearts fans that don't like that. Personally, I think I just fall into the perfect category of human being where that's a dream come true. But a lot of what's going on, you're starting to see Versus 13 bleed into Kingdom Hearts. And I think to a degree that was always meant to happen. Whether or not to this degree remains to be seen. No, Nomura in that interview said that Xehanort's mother wasn't Skald, but they're related. Yeah, exactly. But is Ephemer his dad or his grandfather? That's my other question too. I know we could check that. We could check that if we hop back into the video themselves. But did the player in the blue robe mention that it was the grandfather or the father? From his great-grandpappy. Okay, so it is distant, right? Yeah. Ephemer is his great-grandfather. That's what I'm looking for. This is what I'm saying. And what, guys, this is why I say, and I say this a lot to a lot of people off-stream and offline. One of the smartest things I ever did with the Lodge was go live. Because I absolutely love having this communal dialogue while we talk about these. I almost feel like I'm just like here to like throw the discussion in everyone's face and we all just kind of like contribute to it from there. But, you know, it's good at confirming things I'm not sure of and correcting me when I'm wrong. And that goes a long way in a series like Kingdom Hearts. So just know I'm grateful to have all of you here. I guess that's all I'm really trying to say. But anyway, seeing as Ephemer is the great-grandfather of Xehanort, and we know that Skald is related to Xehanort in some way. We know that Skald is not Xehanort's mom, right? But we know that Xehanort's mom must be related to Skald in some way. If we know that Xehanort's related to Skald, and by default, Xehanort's mom, we see that over here, we've got Skald, Ephemer, and over here, we've got Brain. We're starting to see the legacy of the Keyblade sever off into two different directions. Skald has Nort blood in her. Yeah, that's definitely one way to put it. Umbra says, the fact that Ephraim showed up to Sora in Kingdom Hearts 3 to basically say, sorry, my great-grandson's being a big pain in the ass. Want some help? Yeah, dude, I think that's actually a... This is what I mean, guys. Let me get a little hydration in. Kingdom Hearts is really smart because what they do is they drop a game. Like Kingdom Hearts 2 is a great example. They drop Kingdom Hearts 2. You play it, you get through it, you understand what you understand. But then Days comes out. And then Birth by Sleep comes out. And you play those games. And then you go back to Kingdom Hearts 2. And suddenly you have all this new context, and it makes the experience fresh again. I really think everything that's happening in these mobile games, be it Union Cross, be it Dark Road, be it Missing Link, all of them are not just going to bleed us into Kingdom Hearts 4, they're going to bleed back into Kingdom Hearts 3. Right? So that when you go back to Kingdom Hearts 3 after experiencing all these games and stories, there's so much more context, there's so much more to enjoy, and I think it's great. Hi, will you look about the artwork? What's up, Gokuzoo22? Will you talk about the artwork? I have a theory about it. We just had it up before, but we'll pull it up when we're done getting through some of these Twitter posts I wanted to look at. The full interview just got translated in full. Okay, so let's pull that up. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. And there we go. Sage of the Lodge, Orpheus Joshua. Can we get a shout out for OJ, please? Doing the work, doing a Keyblade Master's work, ladies and gentlemen. Skald is no longer the top running being for Subject X. We're going to talk about that. And let me tell you something. Pajama Let's Play deserves a lot of credit. Because from a long time ago, she's been talking about Ava being Subject X. And suddenly, that theory just got a lot more popular. But anyway, let's go through this interview. Let me zoom in. Let me zoom in so you guys can get a better view. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right. Much better. Subject X could be Ava. It's looking good. Welcome to the Subject X sweepstakes, motherfuckers. Who's going to win? All right. By the way, it's not a family-friendly stream. Just going to reiterate that. Moving on. Question 1. In past titles, we saw a different-looking young Xehanort than the one in the Destiny Islands cutscene. Is there an explanation for that? Nomura replies, Dark Road shows the correct model. At the time of the production of Birth by Sleep, the appearance of a young man was prepared, but the appearance of a boy was not because of budgetary constraints when it came to 3D modeling. Okay. So in other words, probably a retcon, but a retcon due to technological limitations, and we take those. We take those. This will be Mike's first time experiencing the Q&A, actually. Me too. Guys, I have not looked at any of this. Everything I'm showing you today, other than the artwork, I'm really seeing for the first time. So that's why, like, correct me where I'm wrong, fill in the blanks, X, Y, and Z. But in other words, that scene with young Xehanort on Destiny Islands and Birth by Sleep, he looks a lot older than he should. What Nomura is basically saying here is that Dark Road's version of Xehanort, that's the correct version they really envisioned. And I can roll with that. Pajama Let's Play, got to throw the mic in her direction for this. I mean, we don't know what happened to Ava, and Skald was always too obvious to me. Actually, you know, I'm glad you bring up obvious. I'm glad you bring up obvious. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I have to take a fat L. I'm taking my fat L, and I'm going to take it. Let me. I want to look y'all. I'm taking a fat L. Because one podcast episode ago, I not only said that Braggy was going to die, I said that Braggy wasn't Luchu. Because I was like, oh, it's too obvious. Braggy being Luchu is too obvious. And oh, Braggy's probably going to die. God of poetry, the Norse myth didn't have a lot of influence. And let me tell you something. I took a fat L, but I take those L's in stride. But I'm not going to run from them. I'm going to be forward with them. I'm going to monetize my L's. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to monetize my L's. That's a fat fucking L. That was fat. Because it was pretty obvious Braggy was Luchu. But I thought it was a red herring. Maybe it was the reddish hair. I don't know. All I'm saying is fat fucking L. Can't spell Luchu without L. Can't spell Landy without L. Take those L's in stride. Anyway, let's get back to the interview. Enough of me yapping. Happens to the best of us, bro. It's what, hey, look, it happens. To be frank, it was really obvious. That's what threw me off. That's what threw me off. Because the whole Luchu Zigbar thing, even though looking back, it's kind of obvious, they did such a good job being cloak and dagger about it. They did such a good job being subtle and concealing it. With Braggy, they were so in your face. I was like, no way. No way. But joke's on me. Joke's on me. That's also why I knew Luchu wasn't Odin. Too obvious. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how I inconsistently apply these principles. Anyway. What exactly happened to Odin? He's headed for Missing Link. We'll get to that. Anyway. Question 2. Are there going to be any further patches to Dark Road after this? Nomura says yes. We've identified instances where the incorrect background is shown during combat. Furthermore, we've also identified where the player with Xehanort's cutscene will not display as it should during some unique circumstances. I apologize for these bugs. We will be releasing a 5.01 patch in the future to address those. Okay. I have nothing else to really say about that. I didn't have any interest in playing Dark Road. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Moving on to question 3. The what? Yeah, I'm glad, this interview is asking all the right questions. Asking all the right questions. Hillary Select says, I didn't think Braggy was Luchu either, but then I didn't think Luchu would show up at all. I knew Luchu was going to show up. I just didn't think that. Tony Lucius Caelum, what up, dude? All right. Question 3. Why did Xehanort become bald? Reason was honestly unexpected. Nomura says, yes, it was not a matter of great importance. I just wanted to clarify that he had shaved because I noted that it had been misunderstood as a common theory that he had just lost his hair. Called it. That one I got right. That one I got right. I may have gotten Braggy completely wrong, but I told you all, Xehanort voluntarily shaved that head. He went Brittany on the darkness. That one I got. That one I got. It's a little victory. It's a tiny W. It's a lowercase W, but I'm taking that W. I'm taking that W. Brittany Nort theory confirmed. Let it be known. You heard it here first in the lodge. Brittany Nort confirmed. Confirmed. Just like Nomura said. Look at this. Look at this. Misunderstood as a common theory that he had just lost his hair. I love Nomura because he's like, how fucking dare you? It's like, how dare you assume that brilliant man just went bald? Like he didn't have superior hair genes. Absolutely not. Nomura wasn't having it. I'm telling you, he's got burner Twitter accounts. He's got burner YouTube accounts. He's paying attention, and those little things bother him, and I love that man for it. I love that man for it. But anyway, small W. Otherwise, it is not a big problem that the Queen of Hearts did not remember Xehanort. That's just the way she is. Love it. Love it. Question 4. In Dark Road, several of the Emblem Heartless make an appearance, but we thought that they would only appear later in the series. Again, whoever this interviewer is, A+ questions. A+ questions. The reason for their appearance in these past words will be explained in Missing Link. Great answer. He's basically like, you got to buy my shit. You got to play my shit if you want answers. I respect that answer too. Here we go. This is where we get to have some fun. This is where we get to have some fun. Question 5. Who was the blue robe figure seen in the epilogue of Dark Road. Let me get you guys some more zoom. I think you guys could use a little more zoom. There we go. Who was the blue-robed figure seen in the epilogue of Dark Road? Here we go. Here we go. This is where I'm going to get hung up for a bit. This is where I'm getting hung up for a bit. It's the player, or to be more specific, it's the vessel where the player's heart has started its second lifetime. Therefore, whenever someone disappears, it's not that they're entirely gone. Rather, their heart has been retrieved by another person. Okay, that's a lot to digest. That is a lot to digest. So, the way I'm hearing this, and I could be wrong, let me know what y'all think. It appears to me that the vessel we're going to play as in Missing Link, what up, Metropolis Stage? It's okay, we digest at the lodge, we do. So no one is truly dead. There you go. Kingdom Hearts is the story of death and rebirth. Okay, I'll say it again. Kingdom Hearts is the story of death and rebirth. Maybe not for everyone, but for the vast majority of the characters. Anyway. So here's what I'm understanding. You guys fire back. You let me know if you think I got something wrong here. Now hear me out. So it appears to me the character we're going to play as in Missing Link will, in a sense, be a reincarnation of the player character from Union Cross. We will play as that reincarnation. Doesn't mean we'll have memories of the player character from Union Cross. We might just have dreams, right? We go through all of Missing Link. And then when we get to the end of Missing Link, that's when our player character goes under the blue robe. And that's why we stayed fully hidden, right? Can't reveal that. Can't break that immersion, right? So we go through all of Missing Link as that player character, only to end up under the blue robe. Now, we raise Xehanort on Destiny Islands, and then we die. Us raising Xehanort on Destiny Islands, as Nomura's saying here, this is the second lifetime. That to me means the player's second lifetime, that has to be Missing Link. And the reason Xehanort was having dreams of the player character and the player character's friend is because he was in close proximity to the player character, and because he's this quote-unquote supposed child of destiny, he sort of has this empathetic power to connect to people's hearts and really feel what they're feeling. Metropolis Day says, this just makes me want to play Missing Link so much more. Exactly. That's exactly what this was designed to do. That's exactly what this was designed to do. Hold on, let me hear this out. We got an interesting theory from Black Red Pill. Plot twist. Riku is Baldur's second life. Oh boy. Got any bullet points? You got me on the headline. I just need bullet points. Then you got me convinced. What if player is Sora? I could believe it. I could believe it. And also, I love today's finale so much. Not only because it confirmed a lot of theories people had, but it also shattered people's theories, right? We all thought the player was reincarnating into Xehanort, and we got it completely wrong. We all got it completely wrong, myself included. We all got it completely wrong. If the player reincarnated into Sora, I don't know. It could work. I just hope it wouldn't be that important. That's all. I don't want anything to take away from Sora. Sora is the core of the series. So I don't want them to fractionate him. You know what I mean? Fractionate him more than they already have. I love how they essentially made Xehanort and Sora opposites. One destined for good and the other for evil. I think Xehanort's a real tragedy, man. Because he was set up. He never had a choice. He was set up for this. He was born in Scala. He was taken away, raised somewhere else, kept separate from his mother, kept separate from his father. Like, He never had a choice. Like, he was a tragedy in the making from the very beginning. It's actually kind of heartbreaking. Like, the whole world just looked at him and was like, oh, he's this child of prophecy. Let's put the whole fucking world on his shoulders. No wonder he went insane. Because they got it wrong. Because in my opinion, that child of prophecy, that's Sora. That vessel of darkness they want, that's Sora. But that's another theory for another day. Check it out. Okay, Eric the Dude, I'm glad you brought this up. It says, did anyone find it interesting that Xehanort was called a child of destiny? That he would defeat the darkness? Or something along those lines? It was said he was raised away from the darkness. Yeah, I find that peculiar. I think they got it wrong. I think they misread it. I think in a sense they misread it. A prophecy misread, perhaps. Sora is Xehanort's successor for the task of destiny. 100%! 100%! That whole bequeathing-esque sort of moment in Kingdom Hearts 3 is so important. You nailed it right there, Emblem Knight. Sora is Xehanort's successor for the task of destiny. I could not have said it better myself. Could not have said it better myself. I legit, hey, what up, Reed Pattis? I legit cheered up at the ending. I actually like Xehanort as a character now. It was great. This is the point. It really did help flesh him out. It really did help flesh him out. It is very clear that Xehanort was the product of the people trying to fit prophecy that didn't actually fit. Exactly, Hillary. That's the tragedy. That's the tragedy, is they tried to force him into a position that he wasn't fit for. I feel like Xehanort also like acknowledges this when he goes, when the world needs a defender, they'll pick you, Eraqus. And they don't necessarily mean Eraqus himself, but more of like Eraqus's line, you know? Anyway. Nort was a victim of the theory community. I love it. I love it. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Question 6. We'll come back to all this. I just want to get through. Is the Scala at Caelum and Dark Road and the one in Missing Link one and the same? Great question. Correct. The reason why there is such a difference in the atmosphere is due to the fact that Scala at Caelum is positioned as a multi-layered city, with a new city being built on top of the old one. Basically saying that, yes, that's what Scala ad Caelum is going to morph into over time. Still can't believe we have Kingdom Hearts characters who canonically got busy. Can't believe I read that out loud. I mean, there was nothing untrue about that statement. That statement is canon. That statement is true. Despite my reaction. Anyway, moving on. Are we moving on? Yeah, moving on. Moving on. Question 7. Xehanort's full descent into darkness wasn't fully explained, was it? This was my biggest problem with the game. I'll say that. This was my biggest issue with the game. Is that we did not get to see the moment his eyes went yellow. I needed that. I really wanted to see the moment Xehanort's eyes went completely yellow. I feel like we really missed out. I really feel like that's a missed opportunity. You know? Just like I missed the opportunity to get a haircut this morning. But hey, life goes on. All right. Boom. But no, that is definitely my biggest disappointment. Is I thought that's like such a pivotal moment. I feel like that's the moment the fan base has been talking about for years. That's the moment the fan base has been talking about for years. Was seeing that moment. I think we really missed out. But Nomura's answer's worth noting. He says, there might have... get this out of here. There might have been some missing spots, but I believe I managed to depict the beginning of his entrance into the path of darkness really well. Which is true. You could assume that where Dark Road leaves you, that's really where Xehanort's eyes start going yellow. But like, again, spoilers. When he kills Balder, that would have been a great time for his eyes to go yellow. Could have just done it right there. Would have been epic. Hey, what up, Cheesecake? How do you feel about the ending twist? Are you talking about Balder being the villain or Luchu being braggy? Which one? There were a few in there. Or the player not reincarnating into Xehanort, but actually raising Xehanort. A lot of twists. Or learning about unreality. That's another big missed one. That's one we missed out on. Jeez, thanks for the spoiler. Hey, you know what you're getting into when you come here. You know what you're coming into. Yeah, SMH. Like, if you have, again, guys, I can't reiterate it enough. If you're not trying to get spoiled, you gotta get out of here. Sorry, SMH. No, I really didn't. Oh, Lord. Listen. Spoilers. Massive spoilers. Okay. I do have to wonder whether the lack of yellow eyes meant the lack of ancient darkness or what. We're going to talk about the ancient darkness. I feel like there was a very important distinction about ancient darkness and the darkness that can be summoned out of people's hearts. You know? But we'll get into that. It literally says Dark Road finale in the title. It's on there if they got spoiled. Hey, look, it's nobody's fault. Mistakes happen. You know, it's somebody, they like hearing me talk shit, so they showed up. It's okay. They're probably not upset. We're not upset. We're chilling, baby. With 7 hearts, how you doing? Yeah, I'm still confused on which darkness is which. We'll go over that. And maybe I got it wrong, but we'll see if maybe you guys can correct me. Let's keep going. Question 8. Ooh, I really liked this classmate / upperclassmate. Will he or she be in future stories? This is big. Regrettably, while I wish I could have further explored their character development, I was unable to do so, or the story would get insanely extensive, which again shows me their original plan was to do it that way, but they had to abridge it. Most of the characters will probably not appear in future stories, but if the opportunity arises, I would love to depict them in other forms of media. Hello! My first guess is that he's talking about the manga. But it could be a show. Could be like a show or an anime of sorts. But I think he's talking about manga and novels. If you would all hang tight, I am going to go refill my water because I can feel my throat drying out from all the talking. So I'm going to go refill my water. I'll be right back in a couple minutes and we'll get back to this interview, more specifically question 8. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Thanks for hanging, guys. All right. Yensid might have been in a different class because there were students who need to be evacuated. Right, we're going to talk about Yensid. We're going to talk about Yensid. I got a lot to say about that guy. All right. So back to question 8. Again, this implies that they probably had a lot more planned for these characters but couldn't get into it. If they reappear, probably in like a flashback or some like cool final scene where everyone's in one shot working together or something. But if they make a Dark Road manga, I think that's what Nomura is talking about. Which, if you guys have not read the Kingdom Hearts manga, I haven't read all of it. I've read Days. What else do I have? I've read a lot of the Kingdom Hearts too, but it's really good. I highly recommend. But yeah, I think the manga is primarily what he's talking about. Okay, so let's do question 9 here. Could you explain more about the "Destiny is so cruel" line by Master Odin? Naturally, Master Odin also had a master to mentor him. We got to talk about that too. Like, said master entrusted Odin with a mission, which actually ties in the identity of the blue-robed individual. There's a lot to unpack on this one. There's a lot to unpack on this one. But we're going to do it. Oh, tell me more. A Dark Road novel and manga would be great. Yeah, no, they make a killer. They make a killer. Maybe your mic is acting weird. Ooh. How's it now? Okay, guys, how are we sounding? How are we sounding? I did a reset on the mic. Sounds like you have it in your pants or something. Jesus. We're doing good? Okay. Hey, there we go. It seems better. Okay. You guys let me know if it starts getting funky. I got different cables. I got different mics. We can fix it in real time. It seems better. Okay. It sounds better now. There we go. Sounds good. Okay. All right. We're back. We're back. Anyway, let's get back to this. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to... So, hey, Eugenio, I'm telling everybody, no one should be in this podcast that hasn't seen the whole thing. But anyway, let's get back into it. So here's... Naturally, Master Odin also had a master to mentor him. Okay, so... Master Odin not only holds Master Defender, he also wields No Name. Now, Luchu was the one to bestow it onto his apprentice, and then so on and so forth. Who was Master Odin's master? Was it another Luchu vessel? Or was it someone that Luchu bestowed the Keyblade to? I want to know. I want to know. Those who wielded the Master's Defender had to bear the burden of the mission. Interesting. Because, yeah, the second half of this. Said master entrusted Odin with a mission, which actually ties in with the identity of the blue-robed individual. Yeah, because he was always keeping an eye on Xehanort. He was, that's a hint. Huh. Odin, huh? Now that I think about it. If Odin was entrusted with his master about the blue-robed individual, then his master has to be someone who knows player. That's it. There it is. I needed to form that in my head. If said master, who's Odin's master, his mentor, if said master entrusted Odin with a mission, which actually ties in with the identity of the blue-robed individual, then his master has to be connected to the player. Jeez. I don't think Luchu has touched the No Name since he gave it to Brain. And that's how I understand it too. Then boom! There it is, Hillary! Was Odin's master Brain? Was Odin's Wait, but then... timeline stuff going through my head. One sec. Is that right? Does that make sense with the timeline? That Brain would be Odin's master? Somebody tell me I'm full of shit before I run with this. Please. Naturally. And yeah, Brain would be like a big brain guy. Like he'd be planning these 4D chess moves. Master Broden. Master Broden. Odin's... Roughly, yes, it would. It makes sense. We see Odin with both Master's Defender and No Name. Yes! 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 Odin's master had to have been Brain. Holy shit. I'll make a quick snip of this. Make it a video for tomorrow. Holy crap. There you go. Yeah. So let's go through it again. Let's run it back down. Could you explore more about the "Destiny is so cruel" line by Master Odin? Naturally, Master Odin also had a master to mentor him. Said master entrusted Odin with a mission, which actually ties in with the identity of the blue-robed individual. So, Odin's master gave him a mission tying him back to the player and Xehanort. Has both No Name and Master Defender. The only place this could come from is Brain. It's either Brain or Brain's apprentice. And there are two of them. Yeah, no, the Secret Reports has a great theory about this, about there being two brains. If you guys haven't seen that theory, the Secret Reports on YouTube does an amazing theory about there being two brains. Interesting. Interesting. Dude with the black coat and the No Name and missing link trailer could be Odin? Maybe. I wonder what Luchu meant when he said Xehanort could be useful. It all comes down to getting Sora to Quadratum. That was the ultimate goal. So they probably needed someone who could open Kingdom Hearts. And he probably saw like, hey, this guy's susceptible to certain things. You know, he probably saw him as like a candidate, a qualified candidate is probably what he meant by that. Umber says if he's Ephemer, he could have asked Odin with taking care of his lineage. Again, Brain passed Master's Defender to Ephemer, so I doubt that'd be a reason for it being Brain. That's true. He gave the Master's Defender to Ephemer. Interesting. Okay, okay. Then was Ephemer his master? Interesting. So I suppose it's equally as possible that Ephemer could have been Odin's master, as same with Brain. Interesting. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? You think it's more likely that Ephemer having the Master Defender is Odin's master? Or do you think it's more likely that Brain holding No Name is Odin's master? It could have been returned to Brain when he got there. Also true. Also true. Oh, Eugenio made a good point. Let me find him. Xehanort useful as in he's going to get the No Name now. They never explained how he got it. Yeah. Another good point. Big Poppy! Sage of the Lodge. What up, dude? But yeah. Ephemer can't be the master. There's too much time. Okay, that's what I needed. I needed that disqualifying fact. There we go. All right, that's cool. We can get back into that. Honestly, I might make a whole video on that. I might make a whole short video this weekend on that. But that's another conversation for another day, right? Moving on. Question 10. Xehanort appears with a figure who we assume to be his mother. Is that Skuld? Mura says, promptly, that is incorrect. However, she is related to Skuld in some way. The next missing link will have Bloodlines as one of the story's main points. Well, well, well. Talk about a disruptor. Talk about a disruptor. No, I don't think, no. Eugenio, I don't think Skuld is Xehanort's mom. They have different eye colors. Xehanort's mom and Skuld have different eye colors. I think Xehanort's mom might be Skuld's daughter or Skuld's granddaughter. Something like that. I think that's more likely. As we discussed explicitly earlier in the podcast. Anyway. So yeah, Skuld as Subject X doesn't look good. That theory does not look good. Ava's looking more and more like Subject X every day. I gotta say. Alrighty, let's keep rolling. Question 11. Dark Road reveals details about Xehanort's lineage and bloodline, with some mentions about the first Master's bloodline. But what about Eraqus? Are the two of them related by blood? My apologies, I cannot answer that as it will be explained in Missing Link. Awesome. Oh my god. So we're basically, man, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge, honestly. And that's the ultimate question is, do Xehanort and Eraqus' bloodline stem from a similar bloodline? Like, do they have a same, like, common ancestor? You know what I mean? Or are they on two separate sides? Still think Subject X is someone from Missing Link. That would be great, Hillary. I would love it. Will's Word says, funny how Sora knows nothing about this. I feel like Sora is like the best representation of like a casual gamer ever. Now, moving on. Question 12. Speaking of Missing Link, could you share any further information about that? We are currently in the preparation of the closed beta test. Unfortunately, I'm still unable to give more precise time as to when it will happen, but there are plans to rename the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross accounts into Missing Link accounts, so I urge you to follow them. Lastly, and this is what this is another one of my W's. Again, we went over my fat L's. Here's one of my W's. Lastly, will Xehanort appear in future titles? Nomura, just because the Dark Seeker saga is now concluded does not necessarily mean Xehanort will never appear again in future titles. If the opportunity arises, then... Alright. Look. The only reason I'm talking like this and making a kind of big stink. I made a video not too long ago called Xehanort's Grand Return, about how Xehanort is bound to return in some capacity in the Lost Masters arc. Man, some people in that comment section put me through the ringer. Called me a psychopath because I said Xehanort would be coming back in the future. Told me, no. You and your ideas are stupid. I took some fat L's today. I'm taking that one. I'm taking that W. He's coming back, baby. Xehanort's coming back. He's not going to be just a scapegoat. He's not going to settle for that. If there's any character whose redemption would be epic in this series, it's Xehanort. Seeing Riku get his redemption, awesome. Some of the best parts of the entire series. I think Riku has the best arc in Kingdom Hearts. Riku's redemption, incredible. Could you imagine? And you don't have to give him a big role. You can make it a small role. Could you imagine giving Xehanort some kind of redemptive arc? Even if it's through a dream realm or even maybe some flashbacks. It doesn't have to be materially him there. I'm just saying. The idea excites me. And I'm glad that it's at least on the table. But again, another huge shout out to one of the sages of the lodge, Orpheus Joshua, for dropping this interview. Really coming through for the lodge. Really coming through for everybody. I'm going to go ahead and drop this article in the chat in case any of you want it for your records. All right, I had a lot of stuff open that I wanted to touch on. Here we go. This I thought was fun. This is, again, courtesy of KH13.com. Another shout out to Orpheus Joshua. I thought we could talk about this for a little bit because I thought this was cool. And I have to say, even though all their appearances were very brief, I really thought all these upperclassmen were cool. I like their designs. I could imagine what they would act like in more fleshed out situations. But since we like to talk about like mythological influences a lot, I figured we could touch on what KH13 put up here, which is excellent, mind you. But let's do it. Heimdall. In Norse mythology, Heimdall is a god who keeps watch for invaders, and the onset of Ragnarok from his dwelling, here we go, Himinbjorg, where the burning rainbow bridge, Bifrost, meets the sky. He is attested as possessing foreknowledge and keen senses, particularly eyesight and hearing. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Run it in. Yo, B. Padel said it. There it is. P. Padel says Xehanort might come back much like Ephemer. Exactly. Something like that, where he comes through in the clutch very briefly. It's coming. Xehanort did mention a desire for 14 lives, with the last getting to see, which was beyond the Keebler War. I know, dog. It's there. It's all there, man. It's all there. All right, let's keep rolling. Vala. Here, we can zoom in a little bit. Get this out of here. Vala, who I thought her design was awesome. I thought she had a lot of personality. In like the handful of scenes that she was in, I thought they did a good job of having her express a lot of personality. Oh, excuse me. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I don't think so. I think I'm okay. Whenever the seasons change, I get crazy allergies. But anyway. Vala Vala, in Norse mythology, Volva, also spelled Vala, is the name used for a priestess in Norse mythology and Norse paganism. She's a recurring motif and is often pictured as a female shaman. Pretty sick. Moving on. Vali, I loved his design too. This guy was cool. I liked him. I thought Vali had a really cool design. This sort of ninja shinobi looking guy. In Norse mythology, Vali is a son of the god Odin and the giantess Rindr. Vali has numerous brothers, including Thor, Balder, and Vidar. He was born for the sole purpose of avenging Balder and does this by killing Hodor, who was an unwitting participant, and binding Loki with the entrails of his son Narfi. So he's like an avenger. He's an avenger. Here's Hodor. Hodor, pronounced Hodor, sometimes called Hod, is the twin brother of Balder, or Baldur, and is a Norse god associated with darkness and winter. In the legend, he is tricked and guided by Loki into shooting a mistletoe arrow, which was to slay the otherwise invulnerable Balder. So we can see how, like, they kind of warped that a little bit for this. This is something else where I'm going to take a massive L. Okay, let's go. We got to zoom in if I'm going to do L's. We're going to, oop, there we go. We're going to zoom in if I'm going to take my L. So, we did have a Ragnarok type event. You know, it did get sort of apocalyptic toward the end. It got thwarted pretty quickly. But there wasn't a lot of Norse myth influence outside of these characters' names. There wasn't nearly as much Norse influence as I thought there was going to be. So, I'm going to take that L. Anyway, getting back to it. Vidar, who was awesome. He was a cool character too. Vidar, in Norse mythology, Vidar is the Norse god of vengeance, space, silence, and footwear. He is the son of Odin and Gridr, half-brother of Thor, Mili, Balder, Tyr, Hodor, and Bragi, and the half-uncle of Magni and Modi. He is also known for his strength and avenges Odin's death by violently killing Loki's son, Fenrir the giant wolf. And then we have these two. Sigrun. Sigrun is a Valkyrie, magical Valkyrie. There's a shout out for you. I don't know if you're still chilling with us, but there's a shout out. Sigrun is a Valkyrie in Norse mythology. Her story is related in Helgakida, Hundingsbana, I'm butchering these, one, and Helga Kivida, Hundingsbana the second in the Poetic Edda. Sigrun falls in love with Helgi and tells him that her father Hogni has promised her to Hodbrodr, the son of King Granmar. And yeah, you see, like, none of that was in Dark Road. None of that. Anyway, moving on. Helgi. In Norse mythology, Helgi is the supposed son of Sigmund and Borghild. And only 15 years old, he avenges his father by slaying Hunding, the king of the Saxons. He continues with his warlike feats, and one day, as he stands aboard his longship, he is visited by a Valkyrie named Sigrun, whom he marries. Which, as you can see, Sigrun's down here. So this is a cool little diagram. I'm going to throw this in the chat as well. Again, this came to us by way of KH13, notably Orpheus Joshua, a Sage of the Lodge. So big shout out to them, and if any of you want it, there it is. Big Poppy Anime says, you think Sora will be able to box with Luchu and the Lost Masters? Maybe he learned some ancient Keyblade technique from Strelitzia that can give him an advantage. I feel like that scrap and build technique is going to help him a lot. I think he could roll with Luchu. And maybe the Lost Masters are rusty. Who knows? Xehanort is Anakin. Yeah, there's always been some parallels to Anakin and Xehanort. They're very different at the end of the day. But there's always been some parallels to them. But this is a cool squad. I like this squad. I wonder if Ephraim ever had any thoughts of who his son would become. Ooh. I'm sure they thought too much about it. If someone hasn't brought this up already, Baldur's Heartless is named after his boat, Hringhorni. Yeah, that, I think that was brought up during the live stream earlier. I think it was brought up then. But yeah, there we go. Let's see. I think we're all caught up on this stuff. Let's see. That was the old interview. Let's see that. We covered this. Okay, this was interesting too. I thought this was interesting. Also, the question doesn't straight up say that the person we see is Xehanort's mother, but that she appears to be his mother. So, that's interesting, right? Like, why not be straight up? You have to wonder what that means. But anyway, I thought that was peculiar too, that the book isn't necessarily, we're not sold out on that just yet. But anyway, let's keep rolling. We talked about this, got on that. Talked about the Bloodlines. There's the artwork. I know somebody earlier wanted to talk about the artwork and they had a theory. If they're still here, I would love to pull this up and for them to talk about it. Yep, we talked about this. There, that. Okay, there were a few things I wanted to talk about in the finale. So let me scroll until I find them. What is this? 07? Let's work backwards. Let's start with episode 11 here. And let's work backwards. Let's see. Okay. So this was interesting right here, right? That Eraqus goes on to make the same mistakes. You know, I like Eraqus. I really think Eraqus is more good than he is bad. Here, let's skip over the fight at least. But it was interesting to see him kind of repeat the same mistakes. You know, see him sort of make the same mistakes and be susceptible to the same stubbornness and anger that he was here. To have him still be susceptible to that in that confrontation with Terra in Birth by Sleep. I thought that was really cool. But hey, let's keep this going. So Balder, this was interesting. I had a feeling Balder was going to fall to darkness. But I thought for sure we were going to see him make his way to Quadratum. I'm taking an L on that one. I don't think he's going. But he might. You never know. Quadratum does serve as like an afterlife, right? Maybe he qualifies. But now let's see what else we got. Something else I wanted to discuss. So, rest in peace. Rest in peace. Vord is not Kyrie's grandma. That was a theory I thought was going to be true. I definitely didn't come up with it. But I definitely bought into it. Rest in peace, Vor. And rest in peace, Vor is Kyrie's grandma. Now, there was something else. Let's see. Ooh. Actually, I know exactly which one I want to talk about. Nominate would be... Oh, we're talking about comparing Star Wars. Star Wars is coming to Kingdom Hearts. That's for sure. So this was interesting too, right? Let me pull this up. This whole conversation with Vidar and Odin. It almost kind of seemed like Odin was trying to bait him. I don't know how trustworthy Odin can be. And again, we never saw the eye underneath the hat. So this conversation I thought was very peculiar. I felt like Odin was kind of like what the Master did to the Foretellers. I felt like Odin was doing that to Vidar. Yeah, I didn't expect so many people to get bodied. I want more of that grittiness. Me too. Me too. We live for that shit. When you think about it, player accidentally was a trigger to bringing major suffering to the remaining friends who landed in the future. Yeah, no, honestly, it's... Given that Xehanort... And that's why, guys, and here we go. Here I come. Here comes my stupid, stubborn ass. This is why I'm saying Xehanort's going to have a redemption. Because the legacy of a lot of these Union Cross characters, a lot of their legacy is Xehanort, right? For Brain, Eraqus, and Eraqus' students, and maybe you could even argue Sora, you could argue that that's Brain's legacy, right? But what about the legacies of Ephemer and Skuld? Are they just going to stop at Xehanort and him failing in Kingdom Hearts 3? No, I think Xehanort's going to redeem himself, because by redeeming himself, in a sense, he redeems Ephemer, Skuld, everybody who came before him. You know? That's just what I think about it. Baldur is a monster for killing Vor. Absolutely. Well, it's more darkness, but yes. Is Odin Yen Sid? We'll get into that. We'll get into that. We will most certainly get into that. Odin seemed to lack... Oh, no, that's an important... I want to read that one from Shadow Flare. Odin seemed to lack a lot of certainty about the Lost Masters, but he was still hella sus. That's what I'm saying. I can't help but find him sus. Like, why does he keep teaching kids how to summon Kingdom Hearts before they even pass their Mark of Mastery exams? That's exactly Shadow Flare. My impression when I first watched this, I'm like, Odin's baiting him. Ephemer and Skull's legacy is the Dandelions. I don't know why I always felt like Ava was... That's more Ava's legacy. Like, they are the Dandelions, but what's the Dandelions' legacy, right? I feel like a lot of them kind of got funneled. But I see what you're saying. The overall, like, big class of the Dandelions, right? Because the Dandelions aren't just those main characters. It extends beyond that. So I see what you mean. Thank you for bringing that up. I have a theory that Xehanort is in the final world. If you want to flesh that out, I'll read it out. Maria says, you give up on yourself and you give up on the world. Who said the inverse isn't true? Yeah, believe in yourself, you believe in the world. Ancient Darkness and Yensid being Odin are some spicy topics. Yeah, that's why we're saving them for the end. That's why we're saving them for the back end. We're going to save that for post-bathroom break. Let's see. Xehanort will come back someday. 100%. 100%. I'm certain of it. I'm certain of it. Okay, the final world ties in Gnostic beliefs about the Hall of Amenti. It's actually very interesting. Yeah, you know, I've seen that Kingdom Hearts 3 had a number of Gnostic kind of nods throughout. I even got a comment recently. Maybe it was you? I got a comment. Somebody brought that up. Let's see. Odin tells him how to summon Kingdom Hearts, then waits till the very end to save anyone. Yeah, and he only... I feel like to him it was important for him to save Xehanort. And for like seeing as Eraqus, they made that comparison, right? When Xehanort kind of had that last showdown with Baldur, that Eraqus is Xehanort's light. And that Xehanort gets his darkness from the shadows cast from Eraqus's light. So Odin was like, maybe Odin needed to create a situation where only Xehanort and Eraqus would survive. And if Odin is passed on from people connected to the player character, then Odin might be the legacy of the Dandelions. Woo! That was a lot to throw out. I'm even more excited for Missing Link now. Oh yeah, I think that's a lot of what this was about. I feel like a lot of their narrative direction was to get people excited for Missing Link. And I'd say they did it. Oh. All right. Let's see. There's other things I found pretty sus. Let's hop around. Let's see. Hades. Okay, I'll say this. This is something else. And again, I plan on making a whole video about this eventually. Okay, hold on. No. I saw something about Ansem the Wise in the chat. This is a dumb idea, but what if the blue robe guy reincarnated into Ansem the Wise? No way. I'd hate it. That's just me being honest. I'd hate it. But I wanted to mention this. The way, actually, and like here's, wait. Let's get to that. Where are they? Where is it? Come on. Perfect. This. I'm gonna make a full-fledged video on this soon, but I think the best thing Dark Road did wasn't anything with Xehanort, wasn't anything with Eraqus, wasn't anything with like Odin or the overall plot, wasn't anything with Scala and Caelum, wasn't even specifically this. The best thing that Dark Road did was tie in the Disney worlds to the lore. The best thing that Dark Road did was wove in the Disney worlds to the actual lore. Like the way that Kingdom Hearts could be summoned if you got like a certain relic from a world that the world is kind of based on. Like how the genie's lamp is like the relic of Agrabah. And by gathering that and like Beast Rose and by gathering those relics, that was awesome. If you gather the light of the Disney worlds, right? The genie's lamp, the wild rose, all of that kind of stuff. That makes it all feel so smooth. That makes me want to pay attention. I'm telling you, Dark Road for the first time, in like the 3-hour break I took between my stream and this podcast, for the first time, and I don't know how long, my crackhead theory brain was actually thinking about the Disney worlds for once. That's huge. They got to do that. And I think they're starting to do that. I really do. And I'm very happy about it. Now, with that said, let's talk a little bit more in detail about this and how in the underworld you have access to the final world. Now, let me say this. There's another reason I love this. Who remembers Kingdom Hearts 2? Didn't Auron kind of have access to the far plane? Like, does the underworld in Olympus, does the far plane and the final world bleed through it? And then when you think about it, both reality and unreality have access to the final world. And if the final world has like a portal into Olympus, then Olympus and the underworld can connect through reality and unreality. And with that said, I really got to hit the little boys' room and refill these waters. My voice is getting a little hoarse from talking all day, so we got to stay hydrated. Please hang tight. Maybe I'll pull up some music. While I'm away. Yeah, that's what we'll do. All right. Let's pull up some tunes. Give you guys something to jam out to while I take a little break. right, I'll be right back, everybody. See you soon.
Sometimes life is like this dark tunnel. You can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if you just keep moving, you will come to a better place.
Akira.
Just keep moving. You will come to a better place. Just keep moving. You will come to a better place.
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others, the other elements, and the other nation will help you become whole.
It is usually best to admit mistakes when they occur, and to seek to restore honor.
Perfection and power are overrated. I think you are very wise to choose happiness and love.
Sometimes life is like this dark tunnel. You can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if you just keep moving, you will come to a better place. Just keep moving. You will come to a better place. Just keep moving. You will come to a better place.
People see me and think I'm weak.
Okay.
They want to take care of me. But I can take care of myself by myself.
All right, so big shout out to Akira the Don, who put that composition together. I'm gonna definitely drop his link, definitely in the description when it's all said and done. Okay, let's get back to it. Ooh, actually want to keep that on mute. This is a podcast after all. All right. So where were we? Okay, so this whole thing, that's right. So, the far plane, the final world, and reality, unreality all can work through the underworld, which is kind of nuts. Which, did anybody kind of fact check me on that? Let me see. Uncle Iroh would be an amazing Keyblade Master. He totally would. He totally would. And I'm wondering if I'm probably gonna get a copyright strike for having Avatar footage on screen, and this video will get demonetized, but who gives a shit? Hades failed because the constellations were not in the correct alignment. I mean, yeah, I guess you can make that argument. Orin may have been stolen from the far plane, yes. Yeah, because he references it. And I almost feel like the voices he hears come from the far plane. So I wonder, demonetized. Yeah, baby. Bro, you haven't made it. You haven't made it till you've been demonetized. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. But it's interesting to think about. Interesting to think about. Now, let's see. I wanted to talk about, let's see. All this. We did talk about this. So this is huge. I want to see more of this kind of stuff where the Disney worlds can wove into the series lore, make it feel more original. This is cool too, because this is probably what Donald and Goofy are looking for. This is very likely what Donald and Goofy are looking for. So, I think that'll settle us. Oh, yes, let's talk about this. We gotta talk about this scene. We gotta talk about this scene. So, I'm just gonna read out what Xehanort says here. I'm just gonna read this out. Long ago, there were 13 ancient darknesses. The most primitive of shadows, formless, like we've been talking about. This is so huge to me what's said here. This is so huge what's said to me. The Keyblade Masters of old rendered themselves as vessels to trap the most powerful seven within their bodies. And I think they're all going to get broken out. I think they're all getting broken out. Of the 6 that remained, 4 were imprisoned by Keyblade wielders in the world comprised. They're getting out too. They're getting out. See, here's where I get a little mixed up. Someone correct me if I'm doing my math wrong here. Okay? So the most 7. We have 7 darknesses, right? 7 of the 6 that remained, 4 were imprisoned. 2 were destroyed. But 1 survived, it is said, and disguised itself as an ally of light. Which one survived? Which one survived? The ones attached to the foretellers? The one attached to the master? One of the 4 who's trapped in like the Wreck-It Ralph world? Or one of the 2 that died when the world was destroyed? Which one survived? I feel like that's so up in the air. So Master Xehanort has known this the whole time through the entire series. Yeah, he knew exactly who Vanitas was. Yeah, I know it's the one inside Ventus. You know, maybe I worded my thing wrong. Maybe I worded my thing wrong. Maybe I worded my question wrong. Or maybe I'm just understanding. Xehanort is clearly building up to putting Vanitas in place here. This game needs a full cutscene, that's for sure. The one with Balder. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm thinking of. Oh, Vanitas is vanity. Vanitas is vanity, which is a synonym of pride. And I've thought about that for a while. I think that Vanitas is the Master of Masters sleeper cell. He's the hidden foreteller, right? We have a foreteller for every sin except for pride. And a common theory was always, and I totally get it, common theory is that the master is pride. And I think that's still very possible, and I would like that. But I actually think here's your pride foreteller, right here. Vanitas, based on vanity, and he's one of the pure darknesses. This is the master's sleeper cell. But let's keep this going. But 1 survived, it is said, and disguised itself as an ally of light. Yeah, right. That's the one that becomes Ventus. Right? So the one that was Balder, but it's like, the one that takes over Balder. And let's just move on. Let's just move on. Perhaps it's inside one of us here in this time. And then again, his eyes are yellow. The darkness could be in him too. Wait! What if they're the 2? What if they're holding the 2 darknesses from when the world collapsed? Because, I mean, his eyes are yellow. There's got to be a reason for that. But we all know Vanitas is easily one of them. Easily. Yeah, we didn't learn about the true dandelion either. Balder did not have an ancient darkness, but a new one born within his heart due to his empathy, allowing multiple people's darknesses to flow into him. That's exactly correct. And I wanted to talk about that later in the podcast. Completely had a brain fart about it. But I thought that was an interesting distinction, right? That we have these ancient darknesses, right? The ones that are kind of in question here, and the ones that are in, within the foretellers and stuff like that. But I like the idea that it's the darkness in people's hearts that can summon up a new darkness. And that's the one that took over Balder. So then it's not that one. That's what you guys were meaning with Ventus. Okay. All flowing into me now. All flowing into me now. All makes sense. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. He literally is the darknesses from Ventus's heart. But it's not like from Ventus. That's Xehanort brings this up, is that darkness didn't come from Ventus. And he'll bring it up. He'll bring it up. I think it has nothing to do with me. Lies. And then fractured since their minds were once connected. And then he says to him, you must know where the others are. And he's working on it. He's working on it, this son of a bitch. I'm looking for the part. I'm looking for the part. Come on. Where did you... Okay, here we go. Here's where he gets into it. See, you inhabited his heart, he says. His heart, let me get that. I got it. Come on. His heart was not split into light and darkness. You were not born from it. He is one of the ancient darknesses who hid inside of Ventus, and that's what got him out here. At least that's what allowed him to survive and to escape. But then again, maybe Vanitas lost his memory when Ven did. It's possible. It's possible. I'll have to rewatch Union Cross to see how that final encounter goes again. You inhabited his heart, I surmise. And if that's true, he is one of the darknesses that escaped. David O'Neill, Vanitas chose to be darkness of his own volition. That is true. So Vanitas is not Ventus's dark half. Ven does have darkness in him. Birth by sleep is a lie. No, Ventus is a pure light. Ventus, as he is a pure light. Vanitas was a darkness that sort of latched onto him to sort of like, to survive, to escape. Just like Kyrie's like a princess of heart, Ventus is almost like a prince of light. Yeah, Odin said that two probably escaped or nobody knows where they are for sure. That's why we can't sleep on the fact that Xehanort might be carrying a darkness with him. Might be. It's obvious he's got it. Oh, I'm confused. Welcome to Kingdom Hearts, buddy. This is what we live for. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can find anything else. Okay, this frickin' scene. Let's go. I wanted to talk about this for a second. Okay, so this is the first scene between these two. Let me watch that again. Let's take this from the top. I'm glad we got to see a little bit more between these two, be it Xehanort and the Master of Masters. I wish we could have gotten a little bit more, but what we got was good enough. I'll say that. Definitely fleshed out. And it's kind of cool to see that, you know, Xehanort fought him on a lot. You know, he wasn't aggressive with him, but he didn't agree with a lot of what the Master had to say. But then you slowly watch through Dark Road what pushes Xehanort into kind of agreeing with him. Like, a lot of what the Master says to Xehanort in this first meeting, Xehanort ends up pretty much parodying it, you know, in their second meeting. Other epic questions. What happened to the 4 OG Darkness player had trapped? They're still trapped. They're still trapped in that world. And sometimes I wonder if that world is in the black box or some shit. But hold up. There was something I wanted to bring up. Where is it? Where is it? Boom. Right here. To be fair, Xehanort does have cheat codes active. Yeah, he ain't doing pro codes. He definitely ain't doing pro codes, that's for sure. All right, but here we go. There was something that really caught my eye here. They're still trapped unless Brain does something a missing link. Exactly. Like, they're still trapped in exactly the same place. All right, let's see. Come on. Here we go. So here we go. The Master's famous line, the truth is what you see with your eyes, not what your heart. Didn't Odin say those 4 darknesses were sealed in the lanes between? He might have mentioned something like that. I don't know if they're still in that, like, same sort of, I think it was the Wreck-It Ralph world. They might have dissolved into the realm between. My short answer is I don't know. I still have not digested all of Dark Road. We're digesting in real time. Maybe we could check that scene out. The trapped ones are the ones the player traps at the end, right? Yes, that's the ones they speak of that are trapped. Those are the ones player traps at the end of Union Cross. But I wanted to bring this scene up. Truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear. Here we are again. Here we are again. Again, Here we go. Let's just go. I want to show you guys something. Oh wait, Umbra's got something here. Back to the first scene with Master and Xehanort. Kingdom Key is definitely not a man-made Keyblade, considering it has a dark half and is also part of the Keyblade's design. Also, the Child of Destiny inherited it. The Kingdom Key is going to be the fall of the Master of Masters because it's the one Keyblade he can't control with his will. You know something? I've thought a lot about the fact he was able to just jack the Starlight Keyblade from Xehanort. Again, we're going to get into that. Let me bring this up. So here we go. The whole name thing. The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear. My name is... Okay. Some people are going to say I'm crazy. And I've accepted that a long time ago. And I'm not going to go into the full theory here. But if you look, we've got 3 underscores. 3 placements for letters. Truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear. I see 3 underscores. Now give me a second. I'm going to pull something up. You see that? We've got 3 underscores. As we know, there's a Latin naming scheme with the Master of Masters. The 7 foretellers, not the 7 foretellers. The foretellers are all named after the 7 deadly sins, and their names are the Latin word for it. Like, as you can see, the Latin word for greed. Oh shit, I put that backwards. Avaricia, that should give us greed. Boom. Avarice. Anyway, I got my eggs scrambled on that one. Anyway, take a look at this. Lux, light. Lux would fit right in. I've been saying for years, the Master of Masters is light. Lux would fit right in and would fit the naming scheme, not only of the foretellers, but of the unions. This is why you're the GOAT, bro. You go above and beyond like a true enthusiast. I do my best, dude. The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear. You got to look in. Lux Ord. Luchu. Luxu. This is what I'm trying to say. The truth is what you see with your eyes, not what you hear. In the 3D version, you got a flash of light in your eyes. Here in the 2D version, you get these 3 underscores. Lux, Lux. If you like what you're hearing, I've got a full theory on this dropping tomorrow morning. I connect Union Cross. I connect more of Dark Road. There's more to this than meets the eye. And I swear, I know I'm having my crackhead theory moment, but I'm telling you, you guys are going to love it. I'll have it ready for tomorrow. It was the theory video I was working on before we went live today. I couldn't finish it in time. I don't want to rush it. But there's something to that, baby. There's something to that. All right. Let's move on. And if you guys have any questions, we're probably going to keep this rolling another 20 minutes or so. If you guys have any questions or anything you want to bring up, now's a great time to drop it in the chat. Let's keep this going. There was something else. First of all, I want to say anytime Xehanort and Eraqus clash like this was such a joy to watch. U is also the source of the mathematical symbol U, representing a union. Lux, Luch, U. If you have something to balance Luke's sword there, I'm with you. Yeah, he was his own union. Yo, Umbra, my fucking guy. The only 2 to wear black coats. My fucking guy. That's what I'm saying. I've been saying it for years. The Master of Masters is connected to light somehow. He's going to be the guy that shows us that light is not benevolent. That light isn't always good. That light could want... Your ends might be filled with light, but your means might be filled with darkness. I'm saying it. He's following the mythological trope of Lucifer, Lux Foray, Light Bringer, Fallen Angel, Calamity from the Sky. Square Enix been doing this shit forever. But anyway, you see how worked up I get? I need to breathe. I need to breathe. Luchu was the original Get Norden meme, and we didn't know it. And we didn't even know it. Do you think the Master of Masters was legit about not knowing what a Mark of Mastery exam was? Yeah, because I think he's from a different time. I think he's from a different time, and I think the people issuing the Mark of Mastery exams are the ones actively working against him. Sho Minamimoto would be proud. Amen. Cheers to Sho. Cheers to Sho. All right, let me see if I could find Master Odin. I wanted to talk a little bit more about him. Do we get a lot of him in this chapter or no? No, we don't get a whole lot. Okay. So let's move on to this chapter. And I'm pretty sure... Let's see. Let's see. I'm pretty sure... Come on. Where you at, Odin? Not here. Give me the third one. Let's see what the chat has to say. It's wild seeing Braggy in these scenes now, knowing who he is. It's the Luchu effect, baby. That's what I call the Luchu effect. Shadowflare says, in Lightning Returns, the final boss was the God of Light, whom sought to bind all hearts to his will upon sending them to a newly created world. The same plan Xehanort had. That's what I'm saying. Guys, look, I don't know if you're familiar with the hero's journey, but almost every story is the same. And that rings true for Square Enix. Square Enix is telling the same story pretty much over and over. Whether it's Final Fantasy, whether it's Kingdom Hearts, those are the two series I'm experienced the most with. But at least with those two's crossovers, they're kind of just telling the same story over and over. And that's not a bad thing. I think that's a great thing, because I think it's a beautiful story. And it's great to see them kind of move the active parts around. But a lot of it is repeating itself. Hillary Slack says, I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't get to see Xehanort and Eraqus getting the no name in the Master's Defender. However, I am mostly all right with it. Yeah, I would have preferred to see that. I definitely would have preferred to see them get bequeathed those weapons. I did think it was interesting, though, that Master Odin was in possession of both and can wield both. Like, I'm not the only one who thinks that's sus. Luchu chill with a bunch of kids. Yeah, he's a creeper, bro. BDG says, great time to be a Kingdom Hearts fan. Absolutely. It's a brilliant time to be a Kingdom Hearts fan. But hold on. Let's pull up some Odin. We got to pull up some Odin. Where's the boy at? All right. All right. So you're telling me homeboy here can wield No Name and Master's Defender. So he's just going to separately bequeath it, right? He's going to bequeath known. He's going to... I think I just hatched something. So, obviously we've been talking about it since the finale dropped. But you know how people have been talking about how Odin could be Yen Sid? That there seems to be this idea that Odin could be Yen Sid? So you remember in Birth by Sleep? Here, hold on. Hold on. I'm looking for it. It's somewhere in the conversation with these two. So he can retire. Okay. Here we go. I'm ready. Okay. So we know in Birth by Sleep that Xehanort and Eraqus have a means of contacting Yen Sid, and that they value Yen Sid's opinion and Yen Sid's thoughts. They have a direct line of communication with him behind their big fucking chairs. We know that Yen Sid is a retired Keyblade wielder, that he gave it up. So now we see that Odin wants to retire. There's only one Kingdom Hearts character that has ever been a retired Keyblade wielder, and it's Yen Sid. How mind-blowing would it be seeing that Xehanort and Eraqus both had a means of contacting Yen Sid? What if Yen Sid is Odin and he bequeathed the no-name Keyblade and the Master Defender. He gave no-name to Xehanort. He gave Master Defender to Eraqus. And maybe the reason he gave up being a Keyblade wielder is because he saw he was just being used as a pawn. I don't know. It's just a theory. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I thought you guys might like to hear it. I don't know. I think it's possible. I think it's possible Odin is Luchu, not Luchu. I think it's possible that that Odin is Yen Sid. Odin is a terrible teacher. He let his students die before subduing Balder to darkness. He's a little sus. He's a little sus. Do you think Odin set up Sora to be bequeathed the Keyblade from Xehanort? I think Yen Sid set that up. Umbra, I think Yen Sid definitely set that up. Then why didn't Yen Sid give cool armor to the next generation? Sora deserves cool armor. Okay, that's where I'm with you. And that's something I need. I need the characters to get this Keyblade armor. I need Sora, Riku, Kairi, and Keyblade armor. I think Disney will have a hard time giving Yen Sid a backstory. You see, Prince Touche, that's actually where I'm the most skeptical. It is for that reason that I'm insanely skeptical that they're going to play with Yen Sid's backstory like that. He seems almost too protected. Odin probably settled down with Fairy Godmother for that Disney man. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, my Lord. But yeah, no, I think Disney might be too protective of Yen Sid. I think they might be too protective of him. I'm not sure they're going to just straight up. Yen Sid did teach Mickey kind of. He 100% did. He 100% taught Mickey. Man, Yen Sid spelled backwards doesn't like Sora for no reason. Give him the master title. Nah, Sora should never be a master. He breaks the rules too much. That's why we love him. That would be interesting, but if he thought he was being used as a pawn, I don't think he'd have a mark of mastery for his apprentices to protect them from being used too. That's a good point. You raise a good point with that. That's a good point, Coffee Cake. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. All right. Oh, and then this. Guess it wasn't him after all. Got him. Sora doesn't need armor. Oh, but he would look good in it. You know it. Odin took his sweet time getting to Balder and Xehanort, just like how Yen Sid took ages to get out of his chair and help with the Keyblade War. That's good. That's good. The Luchu effect. All right. In case, unless anyone has more questions or anything they want to share, I think I'm actually going to close out the stream here. Can we just get a Luchu game, please? I would love a Luchu game. I would love a Luchu game that took us through all his bodies, all through time. It would be amazing. Luchu wanted Balder to be the singularity. Yo, I want to talk about that too. Xehanort being the singularity. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? Xehanort the singularity? Like, typically when I think singularity, I think about time and space being crunched into one moment. And I know Xehanort was capable of doing that with time, but with space? You know, man, when they said that in the beginning, when they said Xehanort was the singularity, I thought that meant he was going to kind of be the vessel that led us to the world of fiction or to Quadratum. It wasn't him after all. He's referring to Xehanort not being the child of Professori, a lot of Percy Jackson, the child of destiny. Yeah, I think it's Sora. Do you think Hodor and Eraqus are pure lights? Is Balder wrong? No, I don't think Eraqus is pure light. I don't think so. Luchu was rather tired of watching events unfold. He was. As if. Maybe Xehanort is oh, hold on, let me check this. Maybe Xehanort is a singularity because the way he has the ability to connect people's memories and such, it allows Xehanort to be a singularity of a waypoint for basically anyone possible. That's a great point. That is a great point. Black Red Pill says, regarding 13 verse 7, if 13 Dark verse 7 Light makes a Kingdom Key Keyblade, would Baldur's plan to make a Kingdom Key DX Blade? Interesting. That's a good question. He was the vessel that led Sora to unreality, if you think about it. 100%. He catalyzed the whole thing. He catalyzed the whole thing. Dang, dude, you're still going strong in here. Yeah, baby. We're doing great, Ultimate and Beast. And you're Adonai as well, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like I only just learned that you're also Adonai. It's good to know that. Luchu persuading Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, to perform experiments on Subject X, birth by sleep. What was his purpose? Yeah. Be great. We have a Master of Masters versus Luchu, Brain, and Missing Link. I would love that. I'd love it if they started teaming up against him. Real quick, could you elaborate on Baldur's stuff with his darkness? It confused me so much. So with Baldur, here's the way I understood it. Let's see if we can get him on the screen at least. Here's the way I understood it with Baldur. So you have the ancient darknesses, right? So you know how there's an ancient darkness inside of Vanitas? What was inside of Baldur was not an ancient darkness, even though I misspoke on this earlier. It wasn't an ancient darkness. The darkness inside Baldur was summoned from the fear and anxiety and those dark thoughts and feelings from the hearts and the people around them. Now, we're talking about Xehanort's heart being a waypoint for that. That might be what's going on here when you see Baldur pointing at Xehanort. Xehanort's heart has that power, right? It has that empathetic power. So maybe because of Xehanort's empathetic power with his heart, so maybe it's because of that empathetic power with Xehanort's heart, that's what allowed a darkness to manifest itself in this way and take over Baldur. And it makes you think, if Sora is also a chosen one with this sort of empathetic power, that explains why darkness shows up in Quadratum upon his arrival. Moving on. But yeah, that would be the darkness inside of Baldur, as it's sort of conjured up from the fears and anxiety and the dark thoughts and feelings in people's hearts. And I'm wondering if Xehanort's empathetic power is what actually gave rise to that. And maybe that's why it was important to keep him away from darkness, right? That's why they put him on Destiny Islands, to keep him away from darkness. Because if he showed up, maybe it gave the darkness a way to manifest itself. Woo, that was a mouthful. But anyway, that's my interpretation of what's going on with Baldur's Darkness. Please, if anybody disagrees, let my stupid ass know. Since Blue Robe is player, he said he lived 2 lives prior to fostering Nort. Would that be both Union games, Union Cross, and Missing Link? Yes, I believe that to be true. Baldur turned to darkness because darkness took his sister. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that again, but that darkness came from those dark thoughts, right? Like, do we have him in like solitary confinement? Where's that scene? That's the thing. There's that scene of him like in that solitary confinement. And as the dark thoughts are getting more and more intense, the shadow behind him keeps expanding. I can't seem to find it. But maybe. Yeah. Here we go. Like, as you can see, so here he is now. He's not having too crazy thoughts. There was no shadow behind him. Day 3. You're starting to see a shadow manifest. Let's move forward. Day 6. Look how much more dense the shadow behind him is, because look, his fucking his thoughts are getting more intense and darker. And again, maybe Xehanort's power, that empathetic power, is what's giving rise to this sort of thing. All right. Also, my phone note, I love how Baldur put his Keyblade right under Braggy's chin, just like how Xehanort did to break. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. What they did with Baldur was to show how powerful a person led by pure good old darkness is. Yeah. It's definitely something to foreshadow something in the coming, like you said. If the hearts of the fallen Keyblade wielders are in the final world, is there a way to get them back? Well, we know now there's a way to interface with them in the underworld of Olympus, which is interesting. Will's word says, makes you wonder, if we trust what we see, then we'll have more struggles again, even worse than Dark Road and Union Cross. Damn right, it ain't stopping anytime soon. Ain't stopping anytime soon. Sar Ayu says, Baldur's darkness is very reminiscent of the darkness that got Riku. I really agree with the chosen person empathetic heart that casting a shadow on another. Yeah, because maybe that's what, it was Sora's power in his heart that gave rise to that in Riku. Baldur convinced himself that he killed his sister and the other 3 upperclassmen, but really he was too weak to save them. Yes. Kind of reminds you of what happened with Ven in a way. Yes, it looks like Baldur makes a new darkness. The only thing that makes me doubt is if the darkness says it killed Hodor. Reed Pattis says, I find it suspicious how Odin essentially put Balder in solitary confinement. So I'm saying he knew who Xehanort was. He knew what Xehanort being around would do. So he put him in solitary confinement to conjure that stuff up. This was Odin's role. Everybody has a role, right? This was Odin's role. And now that it's done, now he wants to retire? Come on. Get that shit out of my face. How come the classroom was cut from Kingdom Hearts 3? I don't know. But I'd be interested in knowing more about that. I find it funny how many classmates start with a B. Like, yeah, maybe. Who knows? Maybe there's something with the Greek alphabet that has to do with. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how he got shackled up like that. All right. The first episode, Odin says he has a different assignment for Balder, and his sister was already missing at that point. Yeah, and he locked him away instead of letting him be around friends. Come on, maybe Odin is possessed by darkness. He's hiding an eye. That's the crazy thing. He's still hiding an eye. You never quite know. All right. Oh, wait, I really don't blame Balder for what happened. Odin should have never left him alone. Yeah, I don't know if Odin is just negligent or if that was on purpose. I think it's just the hat and the perspective. Yes, but I think in an interview, not in an interview, on the website. Here, let me pull up the Kingdom Hearts Dark Road website. Let me show you this. We pulled this up on the last episode, but let me see this. There's a site for this, right? Come on now. Characters. Let me hit my boy Odin. All right, yo, check this out. Ultimanin. Let me blow this up a little bit. Let's make it so you can actually see what the hell I'm looking at. Okay, let's pull this here. All right, yo, Umbra, you be good, man. You be good. We're going to be closing out soon anyway. Oh, boy. Where is it? We lost it? Okay. Formatting got all wonky, so let me just read it. Check this out. Okay. Master Odin is a Keyblade master and teacher of budding Keyblade wielders. A sage man. His wide-brimmed hat obscures his features, exposing only a single piercing eye. Not a lot is known about him yet. So that, like, the website deliberately points that out. So I have to believe there might be something there. Someone suggests that Odin swapped the Master's eye on the no-name Keed for his own eye. I forgot who said it, though. I think we talked about that here on the last episode of the podcast. That was something we discussed. Wouldn't it be surprising if Odin got played like a fiddle by Master of Masters? I could see it, and went into retirement for guilt. I could see it, and I could see Yen Sid pulling a similar thing, too. All right. I think I'm going to close it out there. I think we're going to close out today's episode there. That was amazing. Today was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think Maria brought it up on the last podcast. But today was a lot of fun. If you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, it was a good day to be alive. But we're going to close it out here. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. I'm going to be dropping theory videos all weekend. Sunday might be a bit of a slow day because I'm busy. But between tomorrow, late Sunday, and all day Monday, we're going to have a lot of theories. We're going to have a lot of things to discuss. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. We'll be in touch soon. We'll do some streams. Thanks for hanging out. Closing it out here. Happy Kingdom Hearts Day. May your heart be your guiding key. I think we have one last line I want to read here. I'll give Hillary the last word on the podcast. Hillary says, I don't think Odin can be Yen Sid. Odin has curly hair, and Yen Sid's is very straight. Hey, I'll take it. And for that final word, we close out episode 135 of the podcast. See you guys later. Peace out.